Hi, my name is Brianna. I'm the founder of a SaaS company. I would give WordPress a 3 out of 5. And for more reviews like this, please click below. Before using WordPress, we were using some of the standard drag and drop solutions. That's like Wix and Squarespace. Although those are really good solution providers for first-time beginners, I wouldn't necessarily recommend them as website builders when your business is stepping it up a level. So if you're looking at engaging with your customers more, you're actioning a digital marketing campaign, or you want to collect some of that really good, insightful information about your users online, I would suggest upgrading from one of the simple drag and drop solutions like Squarespace, we used that in the past, to WordPress. There's a lot more customizable features, and you can collect a lot more real-time information about your website visitors. We chose WordPress for two different reasons. One, I had used it at a past company, so I was pretty familiar with the user interface, the features, and what we could do with WordPress. Second to that, we actually worked with the website development team. They were fantastic to our little startup, and they helped us choose a package that was right for us. They helped us find the right Elementor theme, and they were willing to do all of the work for us fairly quickly. Because of that, their preferred provider is WordPress, and we were happy to upgrade from Squarespace to WordPress to make sure this was a really seamless project that we could get done fairly quick. Because it was their recommended service provider and they were willing to do the work for us so fast, we were happy to do the migration and changeover. Getting started with WordPress is fairly easy. If you have used it before, you will probably be better off out of the gate. I admit I had used WordPress in one of my past companies and jobs, so I was fairly familiar with the features that were on offer. That said, if you are a very first-time user, I probably would recommend going through some of the how-to guides, the basic recommendations, and lists that you can follow to learn some of the fundamental features of WordPress. I say this because it is a fairly large content management system. I have seen first-time users use it before and get a little bit overwhelmed, especially when upgrading from one of the more simple drag and drop solutions like Wix or Squarespace. So if you are a first-time user, I would probably recommend investing a little bit of time to get to know some of the basics. They do have really great resource articles and knowledge articles that you can follow to do this. That said, if you are somebody who has used WordPress before, you're fairly familiar with the features and interface, you can probably bring it into your business and get going right away. I was pretty lucky. I had used WordPress almost every single day in my past jobs and companies. So I was quite familiar with the features that were available, which ones I liked best, which ones I may not use, and we were able to get up and running pretty much from day one. In terms of some of the in-depth features that you might want to plug into your website, like a blog content management system, like better SEO, I would probably recommend upgrading from day one to some of the more premium plugin options. There are some great free options that you can use from day one if you're just getting started with WordPress. However, I often find the freemium versions aren't that great. So I would recommend, if you do have it in your budget, upgrading to premium features pretty much right away so that you're collecting and sorting the information you need from day one, rather than finding out a couple of months down the track that a really pivotal source of information you needed with your website being live wasn't available and you can't backdate and collect that information. So I would recommend, if you can, upgrading to some of the premium plugin features as soon as you can. If you're thinking about going with WordPress, there's probably a few things you want to keep in mind. On the upside, if you're a small business trying out building your own website for the first time, you can get a free WordPress website. Likewise, there's a lot of really great plugins and tools and features that you can use the freemium version of, or really get a website up and running for your business or brand without any budget at all. If you're willing to do the work in-house and you don't have any dollars to work with, I highly recommend that. That said, if you haven't used WordPress before, and particularly if you're trying to do the work in-house, I would really recommend reading through some of the resources, articles, how-to guides, maybe even YouTube, how to best use WordPress for beginners, because you'll probably waste a lot of time trying to get to know the interface and features and how to bring things together to make it work if you don't. Further to that, if you do have the budget, I would recommend upgrading to some of the premium features. Not only are some of the customization options really, really limited when you're going on the freemium version of anything, whether it's a theme, a plugin, an application, but you might actually find down the track that if you had simply upgraded from day one, you sometimes can pay monthly for features, you sometimes have to pay annually for features, that some of the information you were hoping to collect about your website visitors, you needed 2 to 3 months ago when you were setting up the website, and you can't backdate that information and then go on and collect it there after the fact. So if you do have the budget, I would probably recommend upgrading to a premium theme that's more customizable, more suited to your brand and business from day one. Likewise, any of the core plugins or applications that you think will be really pivotal for you to know about your business. This could be contact forms, it could be landing pages. If you do have the budget, I would recommend upgrading to the premium feature as soon as you can. Further to that, this is the one thing that's kind of always bugged me about WordPress. I do think it is fairly notorious for this, is the slow page load time. I'm looking at this for more of a back-end operations instead of the front-end user experience. But when you're actually logged in and using WordPress to update your website, get it built for the first time, change around a few plugins and features, it has a very slow load time. If you are in a rush, I might minimize the amount of changes you're trying to get done at once, or just block out an entire day and try to get it all done at once. Likewise, a lot of the plugins will need to be updated very regularly to keep on top of best practice, make sure they're giving the best user experience to your website visitors, make sure that your cybersecurity is top notch. So there are a few things to definitely keep in mind. One, if you can, I would recommend going to some of the more premium plugins or theme options as soon as you can. Two, it is worth knowing that it will take you a very long time to get things done, even when you're in a rush because of that slow load time. And three, it is a quite in-depth content management system for better and or for worse. So if you are a first-time beginner, I really would recommend getting to know the features before just jumping in, because you'll waste time, you might waste money, you might not have a good experience with WordPress, and your website visitors may not have a good experience visiting your website either. So there are pros and cons. I do recommend it if you need to dial down on the budget. However, if you have the option to spend a bit of money, you might look at some of the other more customizable website developers or hosts if you have the skills, resources, and money. But if not, it is a really good solution. It is a step up from the drag and drop ones like Wix and Squarespace. It's probably the middle ground, if I would say, which is why I gave it a 3 out of 10.